Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to talk about my new acquisition of a different version of All Things Must Pass from George Harrison. And before I do that, I'm going to show you the other copies I have of that album, because I think it's quite interesting to compare the different versions. So the original copy I had was purchased in the late 70s. I remember ordering it by mail order and being very excited when it arrived, and I've kept it in reasonable condition. 79, so that's like 41 years ago. So the poster's still intact, the lyric sheets are still here, but it's coming apart a little bit. But just to remind everyone, this is the original orange apple, double-sided orange apple. And take a note of the font of the lettering there, because it's slightly different on the next version I'll show you. So that was for sides 1 to 4, the double-sided orange apple. And then I picked up, then we have the new vinyl, which came out a few years ago. I didn't get it myself, but this is my son's copy, and it looks beautiful. It was heavily overpriced, and I managed to get this one relatively cheap compared, but I remember going into HMV one day and seeing it selling for £102, so that was a bit excessive. But same orange apple as the UK original. And then this US version I picked it up in Florida in a second-hand record shop, and it's missing one of the discs. This first disc lyric sheet is empty, but it's got the other 2 discs. It hasn't got the poster. But because it was missing a disc, they were charging $3 for the box. So I would pay $3 just for the box alone. You can notice it's a much thinner box in the US than we had in the UK. And the other thing I noticed was Eric Clapton is credited as a main guitar here on the inner sleeve, whereas on the equivalent inner lid of the UK version, it's just George Harrison and Dave Mason listed amongst the guitarists for the album proper, not talking about the jam. So that's quite interesting. And then what's also interesting about this US version is the orange apple is slightly different, and that font of George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, is matching the front cover of the album. I don't know if you can see that. And then the sliced apple, whereas in the UK you had the full orange apple. In the US you have the sliced orange apple. So, you know, that's trivial for some people, but for me that's a fascinating difference, and delighted to pick up this US version just because of that, really. And nice to have the US box as well. And then this is what I picked up the other day. So this is a Yugoslav issue from 1971. Took them a couple of months, because the album proper was released late November 1970 in the US and the UK. Took them a few months to get there in Yugoslavia. The front and back cover are identical, so that's quite unique. It comes in a gatefold. Which is quite interesting. Notice the musicians listed. Mal Evans was originally credited with tea and sympathy and tambourine on the original version, and here tea and sympathy are listed as if they were separate people at the bottom there, which is quite amusing. So, and the other thing, very noteworthy thing to say about this version is that it doesn't have the Apple Jam. So I think it is the version which should have gone out worldwide. I think the Apple Jam is a little bit detracting from the majesty of this album, and without the Apple Jam, as this stands as a double album Yugoslavia version, I think one could make a very strong case for this being the strongest Beatles solo album, bar none. Not even Plastic Ono Band would top it if you got rid of the Apple Jam, in my opinion. So that's very interesting. And then the other extremely interesting thing about this Yugoslav pressing is it comes in these slightly annoying sleeves, but yes, you spotted it. It's on the green apple, and never seen that before. Sliced green apple there. Just after having grown up with the orange apple for the last 41 years, or longer for you guys if you bought it at the time. To discover this on the green apple is just wonderful. And I showed you my version of Wildlife in a video on the green apple. That was another very exciting find. Here's side 3, Beware of Darkness, etc. Side 4, I Dig Love, etc. And the beautiful green apple. I haven't actually played this copy, it just arrived yesterday, but it's more, I've got it more or less for the playing quality as for that variation in the fact that it excludes the apple jam and the fact that it's on the green apple. I think it makes it a pretty exciting purchase. Certainly I thought it was. So that was that. My CD copies, got 2 copies of this, the black and white one, the colour. Very nice to have, reproducing the original artwork faithfully. But that Yugoslav one is the jewel in the crown of my collection right now. So thank you for watching. See you next time.